Hello and welcome to Always Aligning with your host, Estefania. Thank you for coming. Thank you for joining. Thank you for being here with me today. I am excited to be kind of launching this new version of myself over and over again, where not only am I recording to the computer, but I'm also live on Instagram. And I thought, what better way to really start to connect in a different way to people than go live and also speak on my journey and speak on, different things that I can really help people in their path and on their journey in this life. So as I begin, I might turn off, yeah, I'm going to turn off commenting, but I'll just be live. I wanted to basically connect and share with you guys how I got to this point. I'm a healer. I do energetic healings. I am a spiritual mindset coach. I've guided so many wonderful, incredible humans to what I like to call their next level of expansion. It's their next level of what they know that they have the capacity to expand to, right? Because we always come from a space where first we are in the space of not really knowing what to do next, where to go next, and how to expand, and what expansion means, and what does that mean for you versus the next person. And I feel like whenever people finally come to me and connect with me and align with me, whenever someone decides to begin that process with me, I always say that it's one, that they're really ready. Two, they've been doing the work. And three, it's just like meant to begin and to start happening. I would love to anchor the energy as we begin with just a few breaths. And if you want to join with me for just a few moments, close your eyes and take a long, deep breath in, anchoring your energy down, relaxing the shoulders, relaxing the face. Gently exhale, feeling into your heart space, deep breath. Expand out your heart. Gently exhale. Being so present in the here and the now. Feeling your toes, feeling your fingers, feeling your heart space. Deep breath into your heart. Hold. And exhale. So I wanted to kind of talk about my journey when it comes to Kundalini energy and Kundalini yoga. I'm 33 years old, and I have been in this practice of energy work since maybe about when I was 21. And at first, what came to me was Reiki. And Reiki arrived in my field, in my life, because I was going through a really tough relationship where I was with someone where at that time I didn't know was very manipulative and very narcissistic. And I didn't really know any of these themes. I didn't know any of this language, this verbiage. And I was really going through it. And one day me and him fight, and I don't know what to do. So I go to the beach, and I lived in South Beach, and I go to the beach and I just start crying, and I'm crying and I'm crying and I'm crying. And all of a sudden some guy comes, and he comes up to me, and he walks up to me, and he asks, he touches my shoulder, and I'm like, how dare you? Who are you to touch me and come here and do no? And he comes and just is like, I'm so sorry. I just feel the call to invite you to a Reiki circle. And I was like, what? Why? Who are you? Why are you inviting me to this? No. I end up going with him because I was just in the space of I don't know. I don't care. I just want something to change. I don't want to feel like this in my heart. I don't want to feel like this in my mind. I don't want to feel like this anymore. So I end up going with him. And when we go to this Reiki circle, it was the craziest thing because I get there and it was people from like all walks of life. Like you have Joe Schmo, the programmer, you have uh Carly, the cheerleader, you have all these different people in this room and all different ages. And you're like, wow, everyone is here because they're all obviously been called to come here and to heal and to work on themselves in some way. And at that time, again, I had no idea what like working on yourself really meant. Um, so I sit in this circle and the Reiki, like the woman that led it, it was my first ever circle, right? And the woman that led it, she was from New York and she's Puerto Rican and she was so cool and she was like she would sit there and just talk shit. And I found that to be so amusing because I didn't associate like spirituality with someone that could come in and just talk shit. And I thought that that was so fun. And Melissa Aluna, I love you so freaking much. I adore you. And she had cards all laid out and like oracle decks, right? And so, people would pick an oracle deck and then she would be like, okay, who wants to share and who wants to express like what they picked. And as everyone would come into that space of just kind of like sharing what they got and sharing what they pulled, she would go into this like channel. I hate saying channel now because I feel like it's so overused, but like whatever, it felt like she was going into some sacred portal of knowledge, of like wisdom that would just come down, and it was absolutely amazing. After that, after her going through and just kind of like giving everyone a mini, it wasn't a reading to the person, it was a reading to the room. She would then, like, we would all close our eyes and she would have her doing Reiki and other people also doing Reiki. I just remember that at the end of that session, we were all sitting, right? And the people would come and they would touch your crown, they would touch your third eye, they would touch your throat, they would touch your heart, solar, sacral, root. I just remember feeling this insane burst of like relief of wow, what is happening? How is it that my energy is shifting? Like what's going on? After that, again, I'm 21 years old at that point. After that, I was like, I don't know what this was, but this is exactly what I needed. This is exactly what like I needed to come here to. And in that burst of like everything, I was 21, and that was when like I really started to want to walk this path in a sense, though. Don't get me wrong. Estefania, 21, was still partying. Estefania, 21, was going to space all the time. Estefania was still kind of like finding herself, but losing herself, but finding herself. And that's in reality, that's the cyclical nature of life. Like, I don't care how healed you are. I just did a family constellation yesterday that was extremely powerful with Danny, the Joy Alchemist. She's like one of my friends, a beautiful teacher, beautiful leader. And you think that you've done the healing. You think that you've done all of the work internally, and you think that you're at like the top of your game and you've done it all, but in reality the healing is forever. We're always healing, we're always learning the next version of ourselves that needs to kind of understand yourself in a different level. Like you're always coming into contact with like things that have not healed, and you think that you have healed, you really do think so, but like there's always the next layer. Healing is like an onion. You always peel the next layer and the next layer. But I do believe that God, source, universe, creator, only brings you the next level when you're ready to receive the next level of understanding that needs to already come in. And I think that, that process, it has certain processes that we undergo until we get to those next levels of healing. Anyway, so I'm 21. and I do this Reiki session. And then after that, like Steph again, she keeps partying, she keeps doing whatever, she doesn't care. Mind you, I still party, but I party consciously. I party in a different way. When I'm dancing, it doesn't matter if I'm space or I'm space Miami. Miami, we have a club in Miami that is open until days long. Whatever. I can be in that space and dancing and moving and singing and connecting to God as I'm there. I'm connecting to that space in me that I'm like, okay, like in this moment, I'm asking for clarity. I'm asking for guidance. I'm asking for like what's next. I'm in the space of love. Okay, so Steph kept partying, and then she starts to do a lot of yoga. I started to do a lot of like uh Ashtanga, yin, I all the yogas. I don't know why I'm drawing a blank of like what all the yogas are. Anyways, so I kind of like, get into that space of doing all the different yogas and all the different practices. And I kept meeting myself and I kept learning myself. I kept learning like why am I the way that I am in different ways, if that makes sense. I kept meeting myself. And the more that you can meet yourself, the more that you can be in that awareness of like, okay, this is who I am. This is not who I am. My experiences are just my experiences. But what I do and who I am, it's the smallest little part. The you you are one with the creator. You're one with God. You're one with the source energy that we come from. All of your experiences are just part of your story. And then the more that we can connect to understanding that we're one with source and we're one with the creator, we understand that nothing that has happened for us, to us, is really like who we are, because who we are ultimately is connected to the divine. you know. um Anyways, I kept meeting myself. I ended up doing ayahuasca when I was 24. Ayahuasca was mean. Ayahuasca was scary. She was so angry. I was in a trouble. She was not nice to me at all. I think I might open the comments again. Um, she was there. She was not the kindest to me. But we come into these different events in our life, like ayahuasca, because you finally need it in that moment. I do believe that everything that comes to you is because it needs to arrive in order for you to expand in whatever way, shape, or form. I think that all of the things that finally meet you are meant to greet you to help expand you. Anyways, ayahuasca was very mean to me. Ayahuasca was a whole theme in itself. And that was when I was 24, turning 25. And when ayahuasca arrived, that was when I was hitting kind of like dark points. Dark points. I was hitting points where I needed to understand why I was still letting the same patterns take over, why I was still clubbing so hard, why I was still connecting with people that were really not the best for me, why I was still sleeping with people that I didn't really care for and I didn't even want to. There's so many different versions of the self that like we have to keep disarming. And as they kind of like open up, you're like, oh my God, this is why I've been doing this for so long. I know I said that this was about my Kundalini journey, but we will get there. It's almost there. We're almost arriving. So, uh-huh. Ayahuasca showed me like how much I had been just neglecting myself. And it was mean. It was so mean. It was so mean that I never did ayahuasca again. 'Cause I was like, she's not nice. And I don't know if I want to do this anymore. So I kept on in my like spiritual journey. I did an incredible like 3 week road trip from Miami to California with uh one of my good friends, Christina. That was a spiritual journey in itself. And then I did come back to Miami. And when I came back to Miami, I felt so lost. I felt like I didn't know where to go, what to do next. And when I first arrived back to Miami, I connected to, I started connecting to fasting. And fasting is fascinating. It truly is. Because when you start fasting for God and you start fasting because you really want something to change and you ask God like to change. Like you fast with the intention of something happening because you are asking God like, okay, look, if I let go of food and I let go of this and I let go of social media and if I let go of Netflix and if I let go of all these things, I am asking you to please shift everything for me because and you don't fast things that are easy to fast from. You fast from the things that are hard to fast from. And that's why so many people end up fasting from food and they end up, like Ramadan and like all these different, in the religious texts, it's like when you fast, you are to ask for help and you will receive once you do ask for that help. So I started to fast a lot. And one day I was like, you know what? I think I'm going to delete my Instagram. And at that time, I was like 26. And I was like, I'm going to delete my Instagram and I'm not going to use Instagram for a hot minute until I feel like I have reached the next level of myself. So I'm 26. I delete Instagram and I start reading a lot. And I started reading all of the different books like The Power of Now, Many Lives, Many Masters. These books that are like, they're mind bending and like your consciousness really starts to move. Everything starts to kind of like, you're like, this, it makes sense, but it doesn't make sense, but it starts to make sense. Um, I start reading all these books that are waking me up at a really crazy rate. And I really took like a sabbatical year from Instagram. And I was fasting a lot and I was doing a lot of juice fasting. I was also vegan at the time. I was alkaline vegan. And my alkaline vegan self, and I don't know, because I I end up doing all these alkaline vegan juices, right? And in that time of doing all this juicing, it was like I was waking up so rapidly. And I really wanted to help other people in this way. So I was like, you know what? I think I am going to get Instagram again, but I'm going to get Instagram again because I want to show people the power of fasting. I want to show people the power that is like food. Um, and so then I'm 26 years old, right? And I'm starting to fast a lot. And now I'm on Instagram and my Instagram used to be alkaline me. It's aligned with me now, but it took a bunch of transitions. Um, so I start doing all these fasts. I get back on Instagram and now I'm posting about like alkalinity. Everything is alkaline, alkaline, alkaline. This, everything was like Dr. Sebi, and I love Dr. Sebi and all of his teachings and everything about CMOS. And I don't know if any of you were there when I first started that, but the Instagram blew up so quick. It was crazy. Like it just kind of like it it was to a next level. At that time, mind you, for those that don't know, I'm also a photographer. And you can find my photography on Estefography, Estefaghraphy. Anyways, I'm also a photographer. And for the longest time, and being a photographer, I was also a server. And I had been a server at the one hotel. I was a server at the Ritz-Carlton, South Beach. I was a server everywhere. Like I came from the serving industry because I was like a starving artist and I wanted to make my photography like be my main, right? But it was just taking a long time because at the same time, my soul kept calling me to please work on myself. It was crazy. It was like I wasn't catching a break and actually like doing like the things that I wanted to do with photography because something was asking me to heal. Something was asking me to go inward. Something was asking me like girl, we love you. We love you so much, but there's something in you that needs to continue to change. And mind you, like my upbringing, I like the most amazing mom. My dad was not present. I had stepdads. My first stepdad passed when I was little. Then we had another stepdad, and he was an alcoholic. And, you know, it was really interesting how much my body, my mind, who I was always in that kind of like survival mode. And I didn't know how long in my journey in my course I was really in that survival mode and why I was in survival mode for so long. So basically, okay, my soul is like, no, I want to be, no, Estefania, frontal, this one, she wants to be a photographer. But the soul was asking to level up. The level up was coming. My soul was asking to level up. It wanted to level up. It wanted to level up so freaking bad. Like it was everything that I wanted. And I didn't know that that's what I wanted. Anyways, so now I'm in a year, right, of like no social media. No, I'm sorry. I was no social media, fasting, everything. Then I get onto social media and I'm doing all these posts on alkalinity. I'm doing all these things that are kind of like bringing me deeper into helping people. And now I'm like, all of a sudden, mind you, my entire life, I always looked at things like further than most. I always questioned everything. And I think that this happened because of Santa Claus. When I was told Santa Claus wasn't real, when I was like, what, 9? I was like, wait, hold up. You're telling me that this guy that y'all have on like all the news broadcasting, and he's going from state to state and coming from every other country. You're telling me that you could lie to me about this man. You lied to me. I was lied to. I was lied to about Santa Claus. And little 9-year-old me. And now I'm like, I don't believe you about anything. I don't even believe you about Jesus. I don't believe you. And I would, we were Christian. We'd go to church. My mom would take me to like my church school. And I just didn't want to go anymore because I felt like I didn't believe anyone. I didn't be fuck you. No. You you made me believe that this man with a belly was coming around with gifts and it was you the whole time. And so I think that since that happened, and I'm a Sagittarius, my moon and my ascendant are Pisces. I'm very, very, I question everything. I question life, but I question until I can find certain answers that settle into my heart. And then I'm like, okay, cool. Like now I get it. Thank you so much. Anyways, yeah, I was always someone that liked to help people. I was always someone that liked to figure out how someone works and where their brain is and how I can help them, right? So I've always been this person. This person was in me since I was a freaking child. Now, I go into um I'm doing all this stuff with with the juicing, and I'm doing all this stuff on Instagram, and I'm helping people. I used to go live all the time. It's so funny to me because even right now, as I'm on live on Instagram, and I'm also like recording on the computer. Um, like there was a part of me before that didn't know how to actually be myself, and I would be me, but I wouldn't be me. I would be afraid to be who I was fully online. And I didn't want people to know who I really was online, which is really crazy to me to think. Um, and then again, we start to heal. And first it was like I was obsessed with healing my body. I was obsessed with like I had traumas of like being like chubby. I had traumas all around. And anyways, I start to truly go inward. And then this is when the journey starts to shift. Plant medicines, I adore plant medicines. Plant medicines, they really do like if you are someone that does question everything, if you are someone that is super skeptic about everything. And I honestly was, I swear to you that ever since Santa Claus, I was a skeptic about life itself. Like everything was like, I had skepticism around all of it. So if that is you and you've never done plant medicine, I don't want to tell you go and do it, but it opened me up completely. It made me see things differently in ways that I didn't think I needed to see. I think that you know it it did open up that like quantum field. It opened up this like shortcut to finding myself. You don't need it, you can meditate, but I personally I don't know that because that's not my journey. That wasn't my path. I've done mushrooms since I was like 15. Then I did ayahuasca when I was like 24. Then I did San Pedro. I did I have never done peyote. I always wanted to do peyote. And then I did something. So okay, now it's a year of all this stuff and all this juicing and da 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 da. And I just felt like I wasn't there yet. Like I wanted to be like I wanted to get to the version of me that I knew was arriving, but I didn't know how to get to her, right? So October 2018, I get a call from one of my best friends, rest in peace. And he calls me and he's like, Steph, I met God. And I was like, what do you mean? And he was always doing some stuff. He was always like, if it wasn't ayahuasca, if it wasn't like something, he was always doing some kind of ceremony, some kind of something. And I was like, oh my God, what do you want? What are you gonna tell me? What do you like? What do you mean? And he's like, I just did bufo alvarios. And I was like, what? And he's like, it's a toad that secretes venom from its back. And and the toad is from North Mexico and it resides in the desert. And this toad, when it secretes the venom from its back, when the venom dries out, all that's left is 5-MeO DMT, dimethyltryptamine, but it has like an extra strand. And I was like, okay. He's like, I just smoked it. And I was like, you just smoked toad? What's wrong with you? So, bet. Okay. You smoke toad, I'm a smoke toad. So then I end up meeting with the shaman guy that basically like served him this toad medicine. And it was so crazy. And you know that things are meant to happen the way that they're supposed to, because the synchronicities and like the coordinations of like how it happened and how it came to me. And then I stopped my car right when I was talking to him, and I stopped my car in front of this like cafe. So I get out of the car, I go into the cafe and I sit down, and then I call the guy and I was like, hey, so my friend Lewis, he told me about you. I would love to like understand like what you do with toad medicine, how do we do this, how do we smoke toad medicine. And so he was like, oh well, I would have to meet you in order to like if I'm gonna serve you toad medicine, I need to meet you. And I was like, but okay, when, how do we meet, how does this happen, when do we do this? And I was like, I'm at this cafe. And he was like, I'm driving by that cafe right now. Like, okay. So then he stops, gets out of his car, comes inside, meets with me. We have like a 45-minute conversation on like my healing process, what I've been doing in that year. Not only had I been fasting a lot and juice fasting, like so many juice fasts and water fasts and dry fasts and all these crazy things, I was also meditating, because when you're fasted, that meditative state is like, my God, it's another state. So whatever, I end up telling him my story. He's telling me his story. He's telling me like what he's gone through and he got to this point and where the medicine is coming from. And then he was like, so when would you like to do it? And I was like, right now. And he was like, right now. And I was like, yeah, if I don't do it right now, I'm not going to do it. I have to do it right now. And he was like, okay. So we end up going to his house. And now I'm like feeling all the feels of like, Steph, you don't know this man. You have no idea who well, you know who he is, but like now you're pulling up to his house. His house is like in a kind of like not like kind of hood area of Miami. And I was like, what am I doing? What am I doing? You're crazy. You're a crazy lady. It doesn't matter. Fine about it. We walk into his home and there's a huge dog, and he's like, oh well, there's gonna like, I have roommates. And I was like, of course you do. And we get into his room, and this is, I know that I said that this was going to be about Kundalini energy, but like we're getting there, promise. I just have to like, there's like things that you should know. So so anyways, I this so we get into his room, and I'm like I feel like I'm crashing out, because I'm like, what are you doing? Why are you going into this random guy's house, random guy's room in the hood, and you are about to smoke toad medicine? It's funny to me because the only thing that calmed me down in that moment, that I was like, okay, this is fine, I'm gonna do this and it's okay. Again, I'm like 27. I walked in and there's posters all over the walls, and there was like Krishna, Jesus, uh, all the like sacred, uh, not ancestral, whatever. What am I trying to say? Spirits, team, guides, all of the ascended masters. He has all these ascended masters on the walls, and there's one like a gift card thing going on his wall. And yes, following the call inside is so brave, it will lead us to our true potential. Yes. And this was scary, and I did not like expect any of this. Anyways, there's a card on the wall, and the card on the wall was like a picture of like a bunch of sheep, and all the sheep are gray, and then there's one little sheep in the middle, and it's like a rainbow sheep, glitter on it. And I was like, when I saw that, that's when I calmed down, and I was like, yeah, I'm in the right place. And I'm laying there, or I'm sitting up, and then he like packs up this pipe, and it looked like a crack pipe. And I was like, oh my God, what am I about to do? What is going on? What is wrong with you? Hey, Stefania, you are absolutely nuts. You're absolutely crazy. How dare you come to some come to some random guy's house and think that this is okay, that going to his place and now gonna do toad medicine, like you think that this is cool. Like I was 26, a little young to that. So whatever, he packs up the pipe, he gives it to me. He's like, okay, so you're just going to inhale, you're going to relax. Let's do a little prayer before. And I'm like, okay. So the first hit, my entire body, yes, the ego is trying to protect me 100%. My entire body tenses up. And I started thinking, oh my God, he's going to rape you. This is really bad. You have no idea what you're doing. Why are you doing this? You're crazy. You're crazy. You're crazy. You are crazy. I go into the darkest place that I've ever been to. Okay. 15 minutes of the darkest place you could ever physically imagine or like imagine, period. Okay. I am in such darkness. I come back and he's like chanting Hare Krishna, 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Rama Ram. He's he's in his own world. And I come back, he comes back, and he's like, how'd it go? And I was like, terrible. I'm literally like the scum of the earth. I'm absolutely terrible person. I'm horrible. I don't even know why I should still be living. Ayahuasca showed me this when I was like 24, and now here I am again. And now Bufo is showing me that I'm an absolutely terrible person. And I don't think that I should be on this earth. I don't think so. I think that the earth would probably be a much better place without me. And he's like, oh no, is it just me, but you can't hear anything? Can you hear now? Can you hear now? Okay. So I take the hit, the first hit, and it was crazy. And I was in the darkest place of my entire freaking life. I didn't know what to do because I was just like, I am the darkest, ugliest person that has ever lived, and I should not be allowed to be on this earth. This is crazy. I should not be here. I think that I need to leave. I don't know how I'm going to do it, but I'm going to go because I don't think that I should be here. And he's like, Stefania, I need you to, I need you to calm down. I need you to relax. And I was like, oh, okay. And he goes, you didn't enter the void. And I was like, I don't know what that means. And he's like, you didn't get into the void. And I'm like, no, I definitely didn't get into any kind of void unless you're talking about the darkness that I saw. That's it. That's all I saw. That's all I lived and I was in. So, so then he goes, okay, I think we're going to do this again. So I take another hit and we take another hit of Bufo. And this time he's like, I want you to really like concentrate on your breath, concentrate on your breathing. And so I was like, okay. So I take the hit. And this time, the first time I like laid down, but I was like tense. Like I was tense and dense and just like, ugh, like my entire body was so dense. And I laid down like really tense. So then the the second time I kind of like found the bed, I relaxed and I laid back. And this time it was different because I wasn't afraid of him, or I wasn't afraid of like what was happening. I wasn't afraid of like something happening to me. Like I all of a sudden felt like I could trust him. I could trust what was happening and it was okay. So this second time I was kind of like, I turned into like the Aurora Borealis, the Northern Lights, and I was flowing in and out of like the mountains. And every time that I was going to think of like a scary thought, I would maneuver my way around it and I wouldn't go to that space. I wouldn't go to that thought and I would go to the next thought. And I was able to like navigate my mind easier and easier like as I was moving through it. And okay, that was cool. Nice. I smoked DMT. Nice. And he like I wake up and he's like, Hare Krishna, 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Rama Ram, Hare Hare. And I was like, hi. And he's like, how'd it go? And I was like, it was all right. I was like, the Northern Lights, it was pretty, it was beautiful, you know, it was nice. And he was like, no, you didn't make it into the void. And I was like, I didn't make it into where? How? What do you mean? What does that mean? Where could I have possibly gone different than I went the first time and the second time? How could it be any different from those two times? And so then he's like, I think we need to do this one more time. And I was like, I can't. I don't know if I have it in me to smoke DMT one more time. I don't know if I have it in me to do this one more time. It was so heavy that I was like, I don't. He was like, please, I really want you to get to the void. And I was like, damn it. All right. So I'm sitting there and he's like, okay, but before we take the last this hit, I want you to let go the fear of dying. Sure, that's super easy to do. What do you mean? And I was like, is that it? Is that what I'm fearing this entire time? I'm fearing death. Is that what's stopping me from entering the void? Is that what's stopping me from like reaching whatever you're supposed to reach? And I'm like, okay. I'm like, how do you do that? What do you mean? He's like, well, have you ever smoked weed? I used to smoke weed a lot, like when I was 15 until I was like 21. I lived in a really small town in upstate New York called Lewiston, and we used to all just smoke a lot of weed and do mushrooms and do fires and play beer pong by the fire and go to the farmhouse and listen to something. I didn't know what Santeria was back in the day. Listen to Sublime. I don't practice Santeria. I didn't even know what that meant. Um, so he says, have you ever smoked weed? And I was like, yeah, I used to. And he's like, okay, how do you get really high? And I was like, you hold smoke. I was like, okay. So when you hold the smoke, hold it in. And I want you to let go of the fear of death. I want you to fully surrender the body, fully surrender the mind, and let go of the fear of dying. I want you to surrender. And I was like, I don't know what that means. I don't know what surrender means. Like, you know what it means in like dictionary terms. Like, you know what like surrendering means, but you don't know what surrender actually feels like in the body unless you really practice and are that. So I take the third hit of Bufo and I hold. And then all of a sudden I literally went, I don't know how to explain it, but when my friend had called me and said, I met God, I literally felt like, boom, like that was my meeting with God. I saw colors I had never seen in my life. I started to make sense. It was almost like, how to explain like the thought of like everything that I ever thought about me ever in my entire life made sense as to why that was happening. All of the thoughts that were like like I understood where they were coming from. And I started to understand that it wasn't me. And so then in that trip of DMT of Bufo, it was almost like that was the moment that I actually fully surrendered to God, to existence, to life, to love, to understanding of myself, to seeing myself in a different light. And I don't want to say I started channeling, but like all of the answers that I had been asking, all of the things that I had been looking for were finally coming to me. Like everything was finally coming into my center, and I was finally understanding myself on a different level. And so basically, uh, I start to like come back because you're in it for like 15 minutes. I start to come back and I'm just crying hysterically, but I'm crying and I'm laughing and I'm crying and I'm laughing because I'm like, oh my God, life is so beautiful. Life is so beautiful. being here in this existence, in this very moment, with the infinite sky, with incredible, incredible land all around us, with plants that just grow, with with oh my God, the most beautiful processes of life. We get to be on this earth. Even if we don't fully understand why we're here, the biggest and most profound understanding of why we're here is to enjoy. It's to be enjoy. It's to enjoy nature. It's to enjoy the self. It's to enjoy what is around you. It's to enjoy the people that you have around you. It's to deeply, deeply enjoy the self. And the more that you can be in joy of you, in joy of who you are and what you like, what makes you you, and the connection that you have with the divine, the connection that you have with that beautiful source of energy, the more that you're connected to that space, from that space is where everything expands. From that space is where everything starts to make more sense. From that space is where life, literally, the experience of life is the planet, is the paradise. This is heaven. Heaven is earth. And heaven and hell, that's just mindsets. You're either in hell or you're in heaven mentally. And the more that you can be in a state of joy and alchemize and be in that state of joy, everything comes to you because you start attracting everything that is meant for you. And in every way, shape, and form that it may come. So, yeah, that, long story short, what kind of feminine energy are you? I don't know, sir. Kind of, what does that even mean? Anyways, when I do bufo, and then I'm like, I met God. Now what? Now what? I don't want to go to church. No offense. Been there, done that, get it. I understand. I personally don't, I'm so sorry if this hurts anyone. Sorry, not sorry, but I don't believe that I need to go through Jesus or Krishna or anyone or Buddha, anything to get to God. I do believe that all of these beautiful teachers came to teach us, and absolutely, I can take the teachings that they're teaching and use them to also connect to God. But that's where, like, for me, like the church, like I have resistance to the church because I don't believe that you need something to get to God. I just don't believe it. I believe that you find your way to God because you embody the teachings of these masters and you embody the teachings that came before, but it's not because it's the only way. I think that that's just a programming that's been so deeply seeded into our society out of like control. I think it's just methods of control, and I tap out of control. I'm not like, no, I don't think that that's, yeah, that religions are not, it's just control. And I tap out. I don't want, and then like, even like me saying it, I feel like, ugh, should I say this? Yeah, I should, because it's literally what I've always felt. And I don't care. It's just part of like what my understandings are, and it's who I am. It's what makes me more connected to myself without feeling like it's something outside of myself, because God is within. Now, okay, I go through all this stuff. I go through like this like portal of, my God, Kundalini, right? Or portal of Bufo, and I like wake up and I'm like, okay, God, like show me what's up, show me what's next. What do I do? Where do I go? What, like, I just woke up, and now what? What do I do with this wake up call? How do I maneuver this? So from that space, I end up finding Satna, Aquarian style Satna. It's spelled Sadhana, but it's pronounced Satna. Sadhana means like your daily practice to connect to God, like whatever that means to you. And I found something called Aquarian style sadhana, which was a 4 a.m. practice where we would meet and practice Kundalini yoga, chant mantras from 4 a.m. until 6:30. I did that for 85 days straight. I took a break during the summer. That was 2019. And then I continued and I did 120 days of sadhana, Kundalini yoga. And that was absolutely shifting. Now, I had no idea what any of this was. I didn't understand what the Kundalini energy was. I didn't understand what that meant. I didn't understand that, like, the pineal gland releases a little bit of oil into the spine. It goes down the spine and it sits dormant at the base of the spine, which we also call like the root chakra. And it all, like, that energy stays rooted and seated all the way at the base. In Kundalini yoga, we do really weird like movements and like everything is a mixture of like breathing and different movements that are working the energy field. It's all about bringing the masculine and the feminine energy to flow up the spine to come into union, okay, at the third eye, to open you up to God. And when both energetic fields in the body are in divine balance, okay, this divine balance is reflected in all areas of your life. And when we practice Kundalini, like all the different yogas, they all kind of like, they all connect you to a certain God. And whenever you're practicing and you're holding your yoga pose in certain poses, you're initiating that connection to a certain God. In Kundalini yoga, it's not like we're not connecting to Shiva, we're just connecting to the source energy, to the creator, and it's hard for some to see God as like an energy because we are so used to seeing it as like Jesus or a masculine figure. And like it's formless, it doesn't have form, it's just an energetic frequency that's helping us in all ways, shapes, and forms. Like it's here to push us forward, it's here to help us, to balance us, to connect us deeper to ourselves. And so then in that space of the energy that flows up, we are helping ourselves to really balance that energy within ourselves. So I did that for a long time, and that brought me deeper into all my healings and all my energy work. And the more that you understand that you're vibrating all the time. What is medicine? Like medicine for us truly is vibration. And when you are doing things like breath work and Kundalini yoga, and you do get Reikis done, and you just chant mantras because mantras hold a certain vibration, and you do this in a collective energy, and you do this with other souls, and you connect to other people. It is so powerful. It is so powerful. So powerful. For some of you that may know, or some of you may not know, I am going to be I'm hosting a retreat in Mexico in September. I'm really excited about it. So it's gonna be in this tiny little town called Malinalco. It's south of Mexico City. And the energy around it is really beautiful because a woman, basically, imagine like everyone migrated away from this town and only one woman stayed to like hold the space in that town and was like, no, like I'm not leaving. So she stayed in that town in Mexico, and she led her entire, like everyone that did stay and didn't migrate, she kept there. And there's pyramids, and we're going to be doing temescal. And I'm really excited because it's kind of like I see, I see retreats as a moment to shift and expand out of the version of yourself that you've been holding on to. And I mean, you can practice these things by yourself, but when you are in that collective energy together and for days, everything shifts. Everything shifts. Whoever you were when you first arrived is not who you are when you leave. There's just no way. Um, so yeah, if you guys are interested in learning more, please DM me. I would love to talk to you more about that. The retreat is from September 18th until the 22nd. And yeah. Does anyone have any questions, comments, concerns? Speak now or forever hold your words, or DM me. I don't know. Either one. Anyways, this was fun. I hope you all enjoyed my midday Friday ramble. Thank you for listening, Rebecca. Thank you for being present the whole time. I appreciate you. Bueno, that's it. If you guys want to do a collective deep breath in with me to end the session, take a long deep breath in. Exhale. One more. Exhale. Thank you for joining. Thank you for sharing the space with me. And I hope everyone has a beautiful Friday and a beautiful weekend. I love you all. Ciao.